Did the ring mean a thing?
We be talking on the phone every day that we gonna get engaged and, get married and all, so.
You bought the ring the first day you met?
Yeah, that's when he bought the ring, the first day.
Let's think about this for a second. This is the first time the two of you are meeting. You have to know something's up.
Plaintiff Luther Hester says he immediately fell in love with Vicky, and when he gave her a ring, he believed they were engaged. He's suing for the cost of an engagement ring. Defendant Vicky Moore says she liked Luther but was not in love with him and wants to keep the ring because it was a gift. She's countersuing for malicious prosecution.
Luther Hester.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were suing the defendant Vicky Moore?
Yes.
For $2,000 for the return of an engagement ring you say you purchased for her?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're countersuing, ma'am, for $5,000 for malicious prosecution?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with you, sir. Tell me what's going on. How did you meet the defendant?
In January of 2015, I won the internet, right, called blackpeoplemeet.com. So I was looking for...
That's an online dating site?
Yeah, online dating game. Well, I've been on like maybe a couple of months. I was looking for a wife, like I'm reading profiles. So I ran across Miss Vicky Moore's profile, so it sounded good to me. So
what sounded good to you about her profile?
Well, the way she just put it out there, herself, what she was, what she wanted, what about, and all that. Then I gave her a wink, so she winked back. So then I sent her my phone number. So after that, she called me.
Because that's how the website works. You wink at someone, and you know they're interested if they wink back at you.
Yes, ma'am.
And if they don't wink, you just keep scrolling.
Yes.
Okay, keep going, okay.
So we talked about the past and all, about how we've been married and, got a divorce, and then we want to get married again. That was in January.
So when he winked at you in January, you then saw his profile, did you tell him that you were on Black People Meet to meet a potential husband?
I date to meet a husband. I do desire to get married. But I had to get to know somebody before I get married. I ain't just jumping up and marrying nobody.
Coming up on Judge Faye, a phone call ends their online romance.
That evening I called her, she picked up the phone, it would sound like she was having sex. So
you thought you caught her cheating when you called her?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, she was having sex right out of her mouth. I know how sex sounds, and that way she was sounding.
Plaintiff Luther Hester says he bought the ring because he believed they were engaged. He's suing for the cost of an engagement ring. Defendant Vicky Moore says the ring was a gift. She's countersuing for malicious prosecution.
March the 9th was our first date.
And how did that happen?
He caught the train to my house. It was a good first date. I mean...
Leading up to that, you had several phone conversations,
We
right?
had a lot of phone conversations.
And you would talk for hours at a time?
Every day since February the 23rd.
Oh, every day, okay.
Every day.
And what did you do the first day together?
We went to Best Buy. He bought me a Samsung tablet. Then we went and got my car washed. We went to lunch. Then we went shopping. I went and bought me some suits. I bought my own suits. And then we was in the mall, and then we went to the jewelry store. And that's when he bought the ring.
Oh, so you bought the ring the first day you met?
Yeah, that's when he bought the ring, the first day.
So what was going on that day, sir? You were taking her shopping, you were buying her things. It was seems like you were having a good day.
We went to ate first, and then, like she said, we went shopping. She bought her clothes, and then I bought her that, went to Best Buy, bought her the iPad. That was a birthday gift. That was a gift I had told her back while that I'll give her a birthday gift. So then we were leaving out the mall. So the jewelry store...
Let me ask you something, because now that I know that you purchased this ring the first day the two of you met, you had been talking to her every day on the phone. When you showed up at that point, were you in love with her?
Yes.
You were. And did you tell her that?
Yes.
And did you feel the same way about him?
No.
Okay. So what? What's your plan?
My plan, then after we went to the mall, and before we left, it was a jewelry store there. So we both went into the jewelry store, so we got to get our ring size.
Okay, well, tell me, hold on a second. So you're just walking by a jewelry store? There was no plan to go?
That had came up a while when we be talking on the phone every day that we gonna get married again and we got to get engaged and, get married and all. So That day, we went to get our ring signed. I mean, what we going to get our ring signed for, you know? So to get married and engaged. So I went, like you said, into the store, and then the lady brought me a ring like $10,000. I said, no way, ain't no way I can pay no $10,000 for no ring. So then she came and got another ring. It was $6,000. No, that was still too much. I couldn't do that either. So then she came back with another engagement ring for like $2,800, and she put it on her finger. Miss Moore put it on her finger like she didn't even want to take it off. I love this ring, I love this ring. I said, okay, we get married, so you want the ring, I'll get you the ring. So she said, yeah, I love it. So I talked the lady down to $2,000. It was $2,800, talked her to $2,000. And then she said, okay. So then when I tried to purchase it with my credit card, so it didn't go through. And then I passed it back through again. We did it for $500 for a down payment. And then she's supposed to pick it up Monday because they decided her finger. So she came by my place that Sunday, and I gave her $1,100 bill to go to pick up the ring.
And she
so she picked up the ring that Monday. Then she texted me a picture of her ring and all, happy.
So, okay. Did you propose to her?
Every time I get back, I tell her I got to take the ring off and get on my knees. She'll holler, no. We ain't at the time, it ain't that time. So it looked like to me, it was I'd answer that at service time, they take off her ring so I could get on my knee, propose to her. No. Every time, no. And left like that.
So that's why you didn't do the official proposal,
right,
you're saying.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
And what's your version of this? How did the two of you end up in the jewelry store, and what happened?
We walked into the jewelry store. I walked around the store, I was looked at some rings, and she bought out a ring, it was $10,000. And I was like, oh, I got good. I mean, I was just looking. The lady went in the back and came out with this ring. And she looked at it and she said it was $6,000. She said, but it's on sale for $2,800. And I said, oh, okay.
So why didn't you buy it? Why is he buying it?
He looked at the ring, he said, do you want it? I said, no, I'm not finna get no ring today because I wasn't even thinking. So he turned around, he said, do you want it? And I looked at him, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm not gonna get it. Then he said, do you want it? And I said, are you gonna buy it? Because he kept asking me. And he said, he turned around to the lady, he said, what if I give you $2,000 for it?
What do you think he's buying you a $2,000 ring for?
You know, I think that he liked me. He was buying me gifts. Part of my profile says I'm looking for somebody who's generous, who shares. I thought that he was trying to show me that part of it. It's not unusual. Your Honor, look at you. You date, I don't know if you date, if you're married, but don't you get gifts? Don't men give you gifts? I get flowers, I get gifts. This is a gift, this is a gift. I mean, so when he bought the ring, I was just thinking he was buying me gifts.
Listen. People buy each other gifts all the time in relationships, but let's think about this for a second. This is the first time the two of you are meeting. This is a ring, and it's a $2,000 ring that he's buying you. You have to know something's up. Your day of shopping at Best Buy.
I think he had to ask me, and I would have said no.
Your day of shopping at Best Buy and going to lunch and all these other things, now it's ended, you two at a jewelry store, he's buying you a $2,000 ring. What do you think is going on? The two of you are not dating anymore, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so how did this end?
We were in like on April 2015. I called her that morning. I said, hello, like we always talk. So that evening I called her. Soon as she, pick up the phone, it was sounding like she was having sex. So after that, then that lasted about a minute. Then she said that her mama called her. She got to hang up the phone real quick, and that was it. She didn't call me back or text me.
So you thought you called her cheating when you called her?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, she was having sex right out of her mouth. I know how sex sounds, and that way she was sounding. Moaning and groaning, we know how sex sounds. And that was when I called her, when she picked up the phone, it was going on like that.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
So normally here's the law on this, normally when you give gifts to someone, because I think it was a gift, okay? I think you gave it to her as a gift. No. And under the law, when you give a gift to someone, You can't, especially because I have people who come in here all the time and they form relationships and they've given people things and they say, oh, it was a loan, I want this back. When it was a gift and they're just angry and upset because the relationship didn't work out. The exception to that rule under the law is with engagement rings. If someone gives you a ring in contemplation of marriage and the marriage doesn't actually take place, then legally you have to return the ring. And so in determining if something was given in contemplation of marriage, I have to look at his intent when he bought the ring. And based on the testimony today, I actually think, as crazy as some people may think it is, when you meet someone on the first date, the two of you have been talking every day, I'm not going to hold it against him that he acted too quickly, but I think that he purchased the ring because he thought he was going to marry you. And I actually believe him when he said that he tried to propose to you several times and you would not accept his proposal. But I actually credit his testimony. I think that he bought you this ring because he wanted to marry you. What is your counterclaim about for malicious prosecution, $5,000?
Well, it doesn't work now since you think that he bought the ring for marriage.
So your counterclaim for malicious prosecution is dismissed. You want to keep the ring? If you want to keep it, that's fine, but then you have to pay him the $2,000 he paid for the ring. It's up to you. Okay, I'm going to order you to pay $2,000 to the plaintiff, the value of the ring. Sir, do you know who Kanye West is? You know who Kanye West is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you know who Kanye West is? All right, I'm just going to give you some advice going forward when you're on these sites. Find someone who loves you like Kanye loves Kanye. Yeah. And then you're going to be okay. $2,000 just before the plaintiff.
Thank you, Ron. I'm still looking for love. I will keep looking till I can find love.
Luther, take this ring. I don't want this ring. He can really keep this shit. I don't even want it. And the only reason why is because he was wrong. He lied about an engagement. Ain't nobody gonna marry this fool on the first date.
Judge Faith. These newlyweds say they had to carpool home from their wedding.
So you had to get in the back of the Lincoln Navigator. You didn't have a limo?
Yes, right.
Mr. Kitchen?
But the defendant says he had 2 limos waiting to take them to their honeymoon.
He bold-faced lied to me, made me very upset. I told him, sir, you have 2 cars there.
Now, Judge Faith gets this bride and groom back on the road to marital bliss.
You have to understand how important that is for a bride on her wedding night.
Ma'am,
that was an important
well.
night for her.
Plaintiff Kendrick Lyles and his new bride Jamie say they were left stranded on their wedding night, even though they paid the defendant in advance for his limo service. Defendant Bill Kitchen says he had 2 limos waiting for the plaintiff at the reception, but when they refused to pay for the second limo, he instructed the drivers to leave. He's countersuing, claiming that Kendrick is trying to ruin his reputation by telling lies about his business.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Judge, this case is Lyles versus Kitchen.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, Mr. Lyles, you are suing the defendant. You say he left you without a ride on your wedding day, so you're suing for $330 for a limo rental refund. Yes. Mr. Kitchen, you say your limo company did their job, so you don't owe, and you're countersuing for $5,000 for the rental and defamation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Lyles, we'll start with you.
Well,
when did you get married?
September 7th, 2013.
Okay, is this your wife?
This is my wife.
Okay, congratulations. Thank you.
My wedding planner went online, find us a limo. We needed a limo to take us from the reception to the hotel at the end of this luxurious night. So and she found a formal limo. So we went out, I looked at the limo, it was nice, saw it, paid for it on the spot. He gave me my receipt. A couple days later, he emailed me my itinerary, confirmation, paid in full. We were good to go.
And you spoke to Mr. Kitchen?
I spoke with him and I met him actually at the place.
Okay, and
he didn't have an office. We actually met on a lot where he had all the limos. And we actually did the paperwork in the back of one of the limos. Now, I should have gotten a little leery then, but I just wanted to get this last vendor paid, keep Jamie happy, and let's keep pushing forward.
Because it is all about Jamie,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah. It pretty much was then, pretty much is now. But We're
Okay.
happy.
All right.
So,
So you rented one limo. You paid for it.
All
Do you
right.
have a receipt for that?
Yes, I have a
Okay,
receipt
let me see
here.
that. How much was that limo rental?
$330.
All right. And what were the terms of the rental? How many hours would the car be there?
We're
What
going to
time would it
have
show
it
up?
for 3 hours.
Okay, starting from what time to what
From
time?
8:30 to 11:30.
Okay.
And it was going to pick us up at the reception and take us back to our hotel. So
You don't dispute that he actually paid full $330 for one of the limos, correct?
No, ma'am.
So to continue on, at our reception, we had an open bar liquor. So my father called me from St. Louis, and he was like, well, I don't know if I want to drink and drive, especially, and he's not familiar with Atlanta. So I said, well, he said, call and see how much his second limo would be. So I called Mr. Kitchen, and I said, hey, man, can you give me a deal on another limo? He was like, no, it'll be the full price, another $330. I say, okay. I'll call my father, see what he says, I'll let you know. Called my father in St. Louis, $330 to drive me to a hotel, not gonna happen, I'll drive my Navigator.
Okay, before we get to that night
Okay.
in the deal with the limos, tell me about your wedding day and what happened.
Well, it was a lovely evening, you know. I've been with this man for over 10 years. So,
Oh, okay, well, it was
you
about
know.
time.
Yeah.
Hey, time goes by fast.
Time flies when you're having fun. Okay.
So, you know, I was happy we finally got to this day. We've been planning the wedding for over 2 years, you
Okay.
know.
We're at the reception, a guy comes up to me, I guess it was about 8:30, so he was on time. He's like, I'm your limo driver. I looked at the clock, okay, good, you're on time. He said, I'll be outside. Maybe 15 minutes later, another guy comes in with the previous guy. I'm your limo driver.
Another limo driver? A
Right, so
second
two
limo driver.
drivers come
Okay.
up to me inside of the reception. And he's like, I'm your limo driver. I'm like, well, I only ordered one limo. So, he went out, and I'm assuming he must have contacted Mr. Kitchen. Because after about 30 minutes, he told me to come outside. We wanted to talk. I get on the phone with Mr. Kitchen, and he was like, you need to pay for the other limo. I say, I paid for one limo. Oh,
You told him you ordered one limo and you
Yeah, I
already paid for
ordered
that
and paid
one.
for one limo.
And so you're surprised that a second limo showed
Right.
up and you tell him
My
you're not
planner-
paying for it.
He made the statement, well, unless you pay for the second one, I'm telling both of them to leave.
And is that what happened?
Yeah.
Coming up, Judge Faith puts the brakes on the defendant, driving the case in circles.
Why did you have the car leave early?
Because I had two cars there, man.
They
Right.
paid for 3 hours. Why did you have the car leave before the 3 hours was up?
Plaintiff Kendrick Lyles and his new bride Jamie are suing defendant Bill Kitchen for a full refund on a limo rental. But Bill says they refused to pay for the second limo they ordered, and he is countersuing for the unpaid limo rental and defamation of character.
So both of the limos left.
Both limos pull off.
How did you all get back to the hotel that
Well,
night?
that same father with that Lincoln Navigator, we got in the back of the Lincoln Navigator.
So you had to get in the back of the Lincoln Navigator. You didn't have a limo.
Yes. Like,
Mr. Kitchen,
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you have a really good explanation for this.
I believe I do.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Mr. Lyles came on July 5th. He requested a car. He paid for the car, as he stated, and we sent him a confirmation of his dates, times. A week before his wedding, he called me on the phone, and he stated, I need a second limo for my in-laws. He says, can you make it happen? I said, yes, I can.
Did you ask him to pay for the second limo at that time
No,
like
I
you did with the
didn't.
first limo?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Did you send him a confirmation like you did with the first limo saying that a second limo had been confirmed and would be at the wedding?
No, I
Because he's
didn't.
saying he didn't request it at all.
I understand. I did not send him a confirmation for the second one, and the reason why is because it was a last-minute deal.
On the night of the wedding, what time do you say the first limo arrived?
I have 10 minutes late.
Okay, and at some point, you send a second limo as well?
They were both together, man. They both arrived at 10 minutes late.
Okay, at some point, you direct both of those drivers to leave
Yes,
the
yes,
reception?
ma'am.
Okay, and approximately what time was that?
9:40.
You told me that the plaintiffs ordered the first limo, paid full price for the first limo
Yes, ma'am.
for 3 hours and
Yes,
sent
ma'am.
them a confirmation.
Yes, ma'am.
And that limo actually showed up.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
why did you tell that driver to leave when they've already paid for the services for that first limo? The second limo aside, I'm just talking about the first one. I have the paperwork. I know there's a contract in place. What authority did you have to tell that first limo driver to leave their wedding reception?
In the limo business, everything is done on hour intervals. Okay?
And that car was there for 1 hour and 40 minutes. You just
That means
told me
it was
that.
there-
But they paid for 3 hours.
That means that car was already there for 2 hours.
2 hours, 1 hour and 40 minutes. They paid for 3 hours. Why did you have the car leave early?
Because I had 2 cars there, ma'am.
They paid for 3 hours. Why did you have the car leave before the 3 hours
Then let me
was
answer
up?
my question.
Answer the question, please.
He reserved 2 cars. He reserved them over the phone to me. He bold-faced lied to me, made me very upset. I told him, sir, you have 2 cars there. You are already into me for $440 because we were already there for 2 hours.
They paid for 3 hours for that first car. They have a contract, and you can't aggregate the time by putting 2 cars together and say because both of those cars were there, that's 4 hours. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Ma'am.
You didn't have the authority to have that first limo leave. Now, I want to ask you about the second limo. You say in your counterclaim he ordered a second car. It's your burden of proof to come into court today, give me some paperwork, but you don't have any paperwork to back up what you're saying, sir. Now, you
And
have a
he knows it
counterclaim
too,
for
and that's why.
$5,000. You have a counterclaim for $5,000. Tell me about that.
Our reputation means everything to me. We have an A listing with the Better Business Bureau. Because of this, which is the only complaint that we have ever had, has taken my rating from an A to a B.
What was the complaint?
The complaint was that he did not order the second car when he did order the second car.
The absolute defense to defamation is when someone just tells the truth about what happened. And the truth may damage your reputation, as you say. The truth may hurt, but in his mind, that is the truth about what happened. So that's not defamation. You don't get damages for that. I don't think that you intentionally tried to send a second car to try to squeeze more money out of them on the night of their wedding. There was perhaps a misunderstanding, but what you're saying today, you have no paperwork to support
There's no
it.
misunderstanding.
So my
ma'am.
verdict in this
I took the man
case,
for his word, okay, where
and
I
you
come
also
from,
took
a handshake
$330
means
from
everything.
him for his wedding, to have a limo for his wedding, and you took that away. You have to understand how important that is for a bride on her wedding night.
Ma'am,
That
I
was an
know very
important
well.
night for her, sir, and you had no right to take the limo away because they paid for 3 hours. My verdict in this case is for the plaintiff's $330.
Thank you.
Counterclaim is
Thank you.
dismissed.
Judge Faith, an international romance with promises of lasting love, ends in divorce and a dispute over who's going to pay for the expensive wedding bill.
I said, well, I'm really thinking about taking a trip back to Jamaica because I've been there before. And he said, oh, I wish you would. He said, if you come to Jamaica, then maybe, we can get together and you can become my wife.
The way she portrayed herself in Jamaica, I see her way up. And when I come here, she's way down. I've heard about so many after they get this man here, it's a total different thing.
Well, was it a total different thing or not?
Plaintiff Sandra Price says she knew the defendant for years before she agreed to marry him. But the day he arrived in the States was the beginning of her hell. She's suing for wedding expenses, related fees, and emotional distress. Defendant Everett Pollock says he doesn't owe any money because he didn't take any money, as Sandra only married him for money and sex. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Price versus Pollock.
Thank you, Juan. Sandra Price?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant Everett Pollock?
Yes, Your Honor.
For $5,000, you say he owes you for wedding expenses, related fees, and emotional distress?
Yes.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $5,000 for emotional distress.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll start with you, Ms. Price. Tell me what's going on here.
Okay, Everett Pollock is my husband.
He's your
and
current husband?
He's my current husband.
And you're suing him for emotional distress?
2010. It was in 2010 is when we got married.
I take it it's a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was during the number of years that we spent getting the paperwork and everything for him to come from Jamaica to the States.
When did you get married?
We got married in 2013.
When did you meet?
We didn't meet. We started talking on the phone in 2010.
How did you come to know of each other?
A mutual friend gave me Everett's telephone number.
Where were you living at the time?
I was in Dallas.
You were in Dallas, and you were in Jamaica.
I was in Jamaica.
Okay,
he gave me the telephone number in case I couldn't get in touch with him because I was dating the mutual friend. So therefore, Everett and I were friends.
You were dating a mutual friend.
Uh-huh.
And this mutual friend wanted you to meet him for what reason?
He wanted me to have his number in case I couldn't get in contact with the mutual friend.
Who was also in Jamaica?
Who's also in Jamaica.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay. And anyway, so we started talking. And Everett...
Well, so what happened? You called him looking for the friend?
I called him looking for the friend.
He said, well, he's not available, but I am.
No.
So when she called you, you knew that she was your friend's girlfriend?
She told me that. I didn't know she got my number. And after I get to know that...
But did you know that she was your friend's girlfriend? Yes or no?
After that, I got to know that. But she got my number to find another girl that when she's coming to Jamaica, she have a girl that I can talk to. I have a girl. That's how she got my number.
So she wanted to introduce you to someone else,
yes.
You say?
And
okay.
she did.
She did or did not?
She did.
Okay, she did introduce you to someone else.
Yes, but that person...
Nevertheless, the two of you started talking on the phone.
Yes.
So anyway, we started talking about 3 years.
So he pursued you for 3 years?
Yes, on the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen him. He had seen me, but I hadn't seen him.
You didn't exchange any photos via
No, I
text?
did ask for a photo, but he had seen me on a photo, but I hadn't seen him. And I just thought he was a nice person, you know, just a good conversationalist, and I just enjoyed talking with him, you know. And I mean, it would be hours, and every day for 3 years, every day.
Wow.
And then he turned around. I told him, I said, well, I'm really thinking about taking a trip. And I said, and I'm thinking about maybe coming back to Jamaica because I've been there before. And he said, oh, I wish you would. And he had talked to his brother already on this too. He said, if you come to Jamaica, then maybe, you know, we can get together and you can become my wife. And I said, I'm from the old school. You have to ask me.
So did you eventually ask her to marry you?
Yes, I did. Because she said, if I don't ask her, she's not gonna marry me. And I asked her, because she got my picture, and when she got my picture to look at, she turned me to our friend, and I start talking to her friend. Her friend is no where I'm looking. I said, no.
You weren't attracted to her friend?
No. And then when I sent the picture to her, then after we start talking again, she said, oh my God, how could I take a picture like this looking at you? Hey, you just turned me on and how could I give someone else this picture? Huh?
Okay, so she got your photo and she decided that then she was interested.
You're right.
You eventually asked her, listen, I can't go through 7 years of your relationship. You eventually asked her to marry you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, did you get married in Jamaica?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me see the wedding photos you submitted. Beautiful. You look happy.
I paid for his entire wardrobe.
What is this, vacation or honeymoon?
That's the honeymoon part of it.
Where was
We
this,
went
also in
raffling.
Jamaica?
Still in Jamaica.
Okay.
I mean, I have unbelievable photos of family members and everybody.
Who paid for the wedding?
She paid for the wedding, Your Honor, because I didn't have that money. And
okay,
she said
well now she's suing you to get that money back. That's why we're here, for emotional distress.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if married couples could sue for emotional distress, I'm gonna tell you, I'd be here all day, every day.
Coming up, did the long-distance romance get cut short upon arrival?
It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He started talking about other women.
Never, Your Honor.
You moved to Dallas and it was on and popping?
Plaintiff Sandra Price says Everett became a totally different person as soon as he arrived in the States. She's suing for wedding expenses, related fees, and emotional distress. Defendant Everett Pollock says he doesn't owe any money because Sandra wanted to pay for the wedding. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
I take it the two of you are not living together right now?
No, he left in...
I didn't left like that, Your Honor. She put me out.
No, in
She put me out.
July.
You have separated and
Yes.
you are estranged right now.
In
Yes, Your
April, he comes here on the from Jamaica. I finally got all the paperwork. I did all the paperwork, no lawyers or anything, and I paid all the fees. He came on the 21st of April. On the 21st of April, he got off the plane. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He was awful.
Let's back up for a second. After you got married, he stayed in Jamaica and you left and went back to Dallas?
I came back to Dallas to do the
So
paperwork.
after you got married and had the honeymoon, you didn't see him for 2 years?
No, I went back. I went back in August.
So you saw him once?
I saw him once.
In the 2-year
And then-
time period?
And then, because it's very expensive to go to Jamaica.
I understand, I just want clarity.
Yes, I went
Okay,
back.
you were working on getting his residency
That's
paperwork
right.
so he could move to Dallas.
That's right.
So you say then when he moves to Dallas, he gets off the plane, he was a completely different
He's
person.
a completely different person.
But you never
acted-
really spent that much time with him in person, right?
Well, only
Besides
the time.
the wedding and that one other trip to
and
Jamaica.
only the time on the phone.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you mean he was a completely different person?
Well, he acted very, it was like, I kind of thought he'd never been on a plane, he'd never been in the States, so maybe he was just getting used to this. This man came in full force, acting like he was in charge of everything, just, real ugly. And he started talking about other women. And we had never had that conversation. I'm going like, why are we talking about other women? And I said, we don't do that here. We don't talk about other women. We're trying to build this house.
What do you mean talking about other women to you?
Well, I have a girlfriend. He got this girlfriend or something, he says. So, I went along, I joked. I said, well, okay, my boyfriend this. I don't have a boyfriend. Still don't have one. But my point with him was that, why are you gonna bring up another woman when I'm the reason you here?
Did you get a girlfriend when you moved to Dallas?
Never, Your Honor.
You moved
The
to
thing is
Dallas and
that
it was on and popping?
When I'm leaving Jamaica, coming here, she was like, how you not excited? But I was thinking, is this gonna work? I've seen so many, I've heard about so many. After they get this man here, it's a total different thing.
Well, was it a total different thing or not?
Yes, because she told me the way she portrayed herself in Jamaica, I see her way up. And when I come here, she's way down.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Okay, Your Honor, the first night I came, Your Honor, the garage is like only one car can hold in it. And it's a double garage. She got a lot of junk in there. And she didn't tell me that she's that hoarder. And when I get in that place, I have to squeeze sideways to get out the car. She's right here, she know that. When I get in the house, Your Honor, I look around. The bathroom was a total mess. The sink in the kitchen, if you hold this glass up here and drop it down there, it cannot break. It's muck inside here. It takes me 2 weeks to clean that house. That was nothing I was looking for from the person who portrayed as a teacher to be that such nice person.
Because it's hard when you're long distance, right? To really get to know someone and see how they live and what their mannerisms are. Because you've never been to her house. Let me see your evidence. What is this evidence of?
This is the video, is how she keep the place nasty. After I clean the place up in 2 weeks, in the bathroom, she have like water in the tub for 2 days.
I see there's a lot of stuff on the counter. It looks a little cluttered, but the sink looks relatively clean. What's wrong with taking a bubble bath?
She leave it in there. She'll leave it in there. She'll leave it in there.
That's not true.
That thing, I clean that.
Oh, these are your photos?
She eat in the bed. She leave everything in the bed and gone. I have to take it up. The day when she threw me out, she threw my clothes out and said, I have to leave.
How have you guys been separated and you have all these photos?
She take off her clothes, she just leave it by the ground. See, that's her underwear, she take it off and she just leave it in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
You and I, come back.
How? Why? Why?
Coming up on Judge Faith, the emotional damage from the couple's rocky relationship is not so delicately discussed.
I'm not an ugly woman. This man is going to tell me, no sex, no kissing, no hugging.
She's just nagging me for sex. turned me off completely. I find myself like I'm not having no erection.
Plaintiff Sandra Price says she was forced to end it with Everett because he cheated on her with another woman. She's suing for wedding expenses, related fees, and emotional distress. Defendant Everett Pollock says he doesn't owe any money because he didn't take any money from Sandra. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
Did he complain to you about how you were keeping the house? No. He never complained to you?
No, I had back spasms, and I explained to him that I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you have lower back spasms. And I told him, I said, I'm doing the best I can do. I said, I can hire somebody to come in here and help me get this done. He did nothing.
Was he working?
Did nothing. He was working.
Okay, what were you doing? When you moved to Dallas, what were you doing for work?
I come to Dallas, I start working on the 22nd of May, I start working.
And what kind of work, sir?
A security guard.
Okay, security guard.
When you hear she said, Joanna, when I come here, I start like I want to get control of everything. She just said it. What she's talking about is like when I tell her, I spent 2 weeks, hard work, clean up this place. When the trash truck comes, the trash truck could only stop at our gate because it is so much garbage I put out there. And when I tell her that I don't want the place to go back to where it was,
okay,
that is why she's telling you that I'm coming like I want to take in charge.
Let me ask you something, because I could tell we could be here all day.
Okay.
After he got here to the States, in Dallas specifically, how long afterwards did you notice? You said he was a completely different person.
Yes, when he got off the plane. I'm not an ugly woman. This man is going to tell me no sex, no kissing, no hugging. That was the end of that, you know. He said, give me to December. But he was gone in July. He left in July.
Because she told me out, Joanna.
All right. You want him to pay for the cost of the wedding. Did the two of you have a prenup? Did you sign anything?
No.
Did you enter into a contract?
No, Your Honor.
About these wedding expenses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, because you're still married. And if there's no
not for long
written contract, that's your decision. There's no contract as to who would be responsible for paying for wedding costs if the two of you were to get divorced. So this is one of those situations where you paying for the wedding was a gift to your marriage. And you can't get reimbursed for a gift to your marriage. What is your counterclaim about? Emotional distress. I've already heard about the house and the cleaning. Is there anything else, sir?
Joanna, that time when I talked to her about the place and how she keeping the place, and she's home every day. I go to work for at least 21 hours for the day, doing 2 jobs, sleeping 3 hours. She's just nagging me for sex. Joanna, that place that I was in turned me off completely. I find myself like I'm not having no erection. And Joanna, I told her I cannot have sex because I have no erection in this dirty place. Erection was like it's gone.
I heard you the first time.
Joanna, what I have to do, she knows these pills. She knows these pills.
What is that?
I have to start taking.
Mr. Pullock, put the bottle down, sir.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
I understand you've submitted your photos and you've given me very descriptive testimony here today.
Yes.
And I appreciate your candidness, but you do not have a claim for emotional distress against your spouse. The two of you just didn't know each other well enough.
No.
And when you moved in together, you had no idea what it would be like to live with the other person. It's very different when you're talking on the phone and it's long distance because your imagination takes over and you don't know the reality of what it's like to really be around this person day in and day out and live in the same household. And your dream really became reality when the two of you moved
But
in
don't you
together.
have to learn that? Don't you have to get together and try to learn that? This man
Yeah,
came out of a
before
shack.
you get married. Before you
Yeah.
get married.
He came
right?
out
You
of a
did
shack.
afterwards. You did afterwards. And
Yeah.
that's the issue. When you buy a car, you don't test drive it
test
after
drive it
you buy
before.
it, right? You test drive it before. What I'm saying is you get to know each other in advance. He wasn't here very long at all, and he's out working 16-hour days. He's a hard worker. But now you're here in court, you're suing for emotional distress. I'm not awarding either one of you emotional distress for a failed marriage. It just didn't work out. This is when you dissolve the marriage and you go your separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not legally obligated to pay you for a wedding you chose to pay for. That was a gift to the marriage. Both of your cases are dismissed. I wish you two all the best.
Thank you.
In your
Thank you
divorce.
very much, Your Honor.
I don't really have any much to say to him but bye. Goodbye and good riddance.
I have nothing to say much more than thanks for what you have done, but you're just still not the right person for me.